The mortgage rate has fallen. The average rate for 30-year loans was down to 6.63%. Still feels high, but it does prove some relief for house hunters that have been sitting with that 7% mark roughly. Let's get a read now on the housing market with Bess Freedman, Brown Harris Stevens CEO. Brown Harris Stevens is a luxury real estate brokerage based in the New York metro area and South Florida. On one hand, nice to see mortgage rates declining. On the other hand, we're seeing weakening economic data. If you're feeling broke right now, then why you wouldn't go out and buy a house, even if you see rates declining, would you?
No, and I think that's a great point, that people are feeling stressed. Prices are still very high, and even though rates have ticked down a little bit, people are still not able to afford homes. And the inventory is still very tight in certain areas. So I think, yes, this is a little bit of a positive step, but you still have that lock-in effect where sellers don't want to list and sell their homes because they have a 2 and 3%, and that still remains a challenge for our housing market.
So what is the level that we need to get to roughly where things start to unlock a little bit? 2 to 3%, that would be great. It feels like we're a long way away from there specifically, but where could this...
I would refinance at 2%. That's insane.
I think we don't see it again.
That's what I'm saying. I would love to see 2%. I don't know if we will anytime soon, but where do things start to move a little bit?
I mean, studies have shown that around 5% more people will get into the market. Sellers will be more inclined to list and sell. So I think that would help, but the more we start to move down, the better the market will move. We'll have more fluidness. But right now, the housing market has been very confusing. Even though January was a good month overall, it's slow and steady, and the chaos or the turbulence that we see in the overall economy with tariffs and all the things that we read about creates strain and uncertainty, which is not good for any market. So, we're waiting and seeing what happens.
That's what I'm not sure if I'm right in this, but I always think of you as doing high end. Maybe that's just because of you. But what do you see in terms of the different markets, right? I mean, lower price stuff, I imagine, is still difficult, but are you having trouble selling $5, $10, $15 million properties?
It's interesting. We do everything, including rentals of studios. We do it all, but the high end has been very good. We've done a lot of business. Remember that the bonuses on Wall Street were 20% higher. People have a lot of money, so the high end is doing well. The challenge overall in the national housing market is really that people can't afford their first-time homes. That's, the first-time buyer is the one that's challenged today more than ever. And so I think we're going to need to see more inventory movement in rates before we see improvement there. But this is a discretionary market. Let's be clear. New York City is a discretionary market. If you own in New York, it's a choice. If you own in Palm Beach, it's a choice. Most Americans don't have that choice.
What do you see as fallout from, and I know you're not in the Carolinas necessarily heavily or in Los Angeles, but those two disasters have displaced so many people. Do you see fallout in New York or Florida?
I think that people are making decisions. Some people are deciding that maybe it doesn't make sense with the price of insurance and to rebuild and do all the things. There's ecological issues that people understand when they move to places like that, and some people will make moves based on that, but some people will say, you know what, I know what the risks are, I'm going to stay here, I'm committed to it because of the community and what it offers. So yes, I think you're going to see some movement, just like with COVID, which served as a catalyst for people to look at other places.
Well, one of those places, of course, was Florida, specifically South Florida, a market you're involved in as well. Was that just a COVID trend? I mean, you hear mixed reports that maybe that Florida boom is starting to slow a little bit. I mean, things are expensive in Florida. What are you seeing there specifically?
I mean, it's unfortunate, but we're still seeing some migration of New Yorkers moving to Florida. And I think because of taxes and other things, people are going to continue to do so. So I think that's a challenge that New York has to reckon with, and we have to create places, more homes for people here, make it more affordable.
What's the Trump effect? I was down there a couple weeks ago. I'll be down there next week again. I think even the week after too. It's a lot of Florida time for me. A lot of interviews down there. A lot of people are headed down there.
A lot of conferences.
A lot of conferences.
A lot of businesses have moved to Palm Beach, for example.
But how much does the president's activity there draw more people down there? I'm hearing tech executives starting to move, people coming out of San Francisco now. Are you seeing that?
I think so. I think, look, people want to be close to power. I mean, it's a human thing. People do want to be close, and they're drawn to that, and it creates a lot of, you know, attention, and restaurants are full and people are there. I mean, there's a lot of New Yorkers in Palm Beach, and, you know, the people that have lived there forever, for generations, are a little frustrated with now all of a sudden they hear, you know, cars are honking their horns. You know, it's a little bit more, New Yorkers bring a lot of noise with them. So we know this, it's good noise, but sometimes people just want quiet. They want to play tennis, they want to swim, golf, they don't want all the chaos.
That's why they have Naples, you know? All right, Bess, great having you,
Thank you, guys.
On the program. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope we can talk to you again soon. Bess Freedman there.